Greetings, traders. It's Mohan here, and today's training session for Boomerang, we're going to talk about the recent last 2 weeks of extreme volatility and whipsaw in the markets and how Boomerang has handled that and how you can become a winner using Boomerang. The first thing you need to understand that when you have a professional system like Boomerang Day Trader that guarantees 90% winning trade signals, all you have to do is realize that trading, because it's very mechanical, to get those trades, you have to be a little bit part robot and part human. That's right. Not 100% of either one, part human, part robot, because there is some discretion in trading with Boomerang, but most of all, it's mechanical. So you have to have that robot aspect of yourself to say, Boomerang signal setup, pull back the signal line or pull back to the Cobra, enter. You take your robot arm when you get the right setup. Like, for example, here's one right here. Our rule is that, I'll go over this in great detail today, when these dynamic trend bands are getting ready to cross over, as long as they're within about 1.5 or less tight within each other, you trade the pullback signal lines. When you're sitting here and the market just ran up, and like, here's where you'd be on the chart, and you see that they're tightening up here, right? You see the bands tighten. Now you see them right here, and you measure right here. Look at that, 41.75, 43.5. See that? Right in this exact area, 41.50, 43.50. So about 2 points away, and then as you get closer right here, 42, 43, you go, it's close enough. They pull back, the signal line comes in here, or this next high here, and you reach up here, and boom, you hit the sell at the market. You're not going to be able to tell that they're going to go all the way down here. You're not going to know that. But when you see that signal, you have to have that robotic and human confidence to go in and trade the mechanical system. That was just one example. I'm going to show you literally dozens today. And again, it's important to understand discretion, but what's really important to understand is that Boomerang is famous worldwide. We've been one of the top sellers on NinjaTrader for over 5 years in a row. Now, we didn't get there by being good salesmen, because I don't sell anything. I don't talk on the phone to any clients. I never have. It's all done by email, and I just simply do these type of webinars, and I show people the proof of how Boomerang is, and I would say half our sales or more come from referrals from friends or other traders who are using Boomerang successfully, and they tell their friends about it. People call up or they email me and they purchase, or they just go on the Boomerang Day Trader website and make the purchase there, which, by the way, you can see right here. You just go to boomerangtrader.com. This is our default go-to spot for all things Boomerang, boomerangdaytrader.com. And you can purchase Boomerang by just going over in the sidebar, purchasing Boomerang Day Trader, and some more information from my sister site here over at daytradersaction.com. You just scroll down and you click the buy button. And for $11.95, you can start a whole career in trading with us. And we have these bi-weekly trainings every 2 weeks, so you're always going to be in touch with what's going on, and you can email me anytime because I work around the clock. After 14 years in this industry, I'm still working around the clock, and I love it. Even on weekends, I'm always around usually, unless I take a vacation, go off to some exotic island somewhere where there's no internet, no phones, nothing but beautiful beaches and swaying palm trees, stuff like that. Boy, I wish, don't I? I haven't had much of that lately, but I'm working on it. Anyway, thank you very much again for joining with us today. I'm going to show you some very simple things today. I do have a set of rules. It's a PDF for Boomerang. And this is just one part of it here, key rules for Ultra Boomerang. I'll go over that today. And I can mail or email you a copy of this if you want. And it's still all very valid. I've made one simple modification. What I'm going to show you today, I'd like you to take notes on, because this is the only thing you need right now to trade in these sessions and be successful. Now, here's the thing. With Boomerang, like I explained here, when you get a crossover of the dynamic trend bands, these are called the dynamic trend bands. And if you want to learn more about Boomerang, by the way, I don't really spend time on these. I'm assuming when you come on to this this webinar training, you've already looked over our resources section and other things. and you've gone to, for example, the Boomerang Day Trader Components video tutorial, which explains all the components of Boomerang. If you haven't done that, that's okay. I'll briefly explain. All of the work practically that we do with Boomerang is based on the internal Boomerang algorithms that are programmed into this very thin line here called the signal line. See this really thin line here? I'll keep my cursor on. Just watch where the center of my cursor. See those yellow dots there? This thin line here is called the trade signal line. You can see it running down here. And this trade signal line, I programmed it after many years of developing it to color the bars. It colors the bars or the candles, whichever you're using. And we use a standard 450 tick chart here, which after many years of testing all the different things, the Renkos and the other kinds of candles and the other kinds of bars and the different things, the absolute best thing came out was 450 ticks. And that's probably because it's a little combination of a higher time frame mixed with the faster, like a 1 minute chart or something like that. Anyway, it wasn't just randomly picked, and it's not that, oh, you can go, you prefer a such and such. You can do that, but it cancels out the Boomerang guarantee and everything else. 450 ticks is beautiful because it allows us to read whipsaw, it allows us to read choppy markets and give us some ideas of how strong or weak the market is depending on the length of the candles. Well, the point is, this trade signal line is coloring these candles to give you the bias of the market. Notice they're red, that means sell. Green buy, red sell. Then we have the Cobra, which is the next tightest band running in here. And you can see it's a dotted line running right along here. It turns red and green according to the bias. It's a little bit sensitive, but it's one of our key trend bands for calling when the market's ready to turn. Now notice as it's these other two here combined are called the dynamic trend bands number 1, the dashed dotted one here, and the thicker solid one is the dynamic trend band number 2, a very, very important component of Boomerang. So all we're essentially doing is watching these 3 trend bands as the whole essence of what we're looking for to make our trades along with the rules. On the trade signal line too, I've programmed it so that when we get a pullback, this is an arrow here showing that a new trade channel is opening here. See the colored shaded red channel that's opening? A new trade channel is opening, and these are pullbacks to the signal line. The first 6 pullback to the signal lines will be marked on the sell side by a yellow dot and on the buy side by blue dots here. After 6 candles, it won't show those anymore. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean in some cases you would still trade a pullback signal line, but it depends on the setup of what happened in the markets. Anyway, with that in mind, I can tell you in practically 3 sentences the whole Boomerang system. And again, it's world famous for being the simplest system in the markets and the most profitable. That's right. I was recently compiling my data information for eSignal. Pretty soon we're going to be offering Boomerang on eSignal. I've already redesigned Boomerang. It's the same exact system as what you see in front of you, but I've redesigned it for eSignal. We're doing all the beta testing and everything now. And as I was compiling the descriptions in there, they said, well, give us a description of Boomerang, because, you know, I'm putting together the stuff for their site and their whole training site. And I said, Boomerang is famous for being the simplest system to use and the most profitable. And a bell went off in my head, and I thought, oh my God. And we have a 90% guarantee of 90% winning trade signals. What could you possibly ask more for in the markets? The simplest system to use and the most profitable with a 90% guarantee of winning trade signals. If you're a day trader, this is what you want to get a hold of and start working with it. We have our free training, which I'm doing right now, and you'll find it's very simple. Now here, listen to this. In 2 cents, I'll sum up the whole thing. I'll just rattle it off and then I'll break it down. Somebody says, how to use Boomerang? Well, with Boomerang, we trade a new trade channel with a pullback to the signal line when the dynamic trend bands have stretched within a 1.5 or closer together, or they're matching colors. You trade a pullback to the signal line on a yellow dot on when that happens on the sell side, and on a blue dot on the buy side. If the market has already run in the direction of that move on the crossover, if that's occurring before there's pullbacks to the SIG line, then you trade the pullback to the Cobra line right here. That's it. Did you catch that? The dynamic trend bands either match color or squish together within a 1.5 or less. You trade a pullback to the signal line, like in this case right here on this yellow dot, and there's a million other examples I'll show you in a second. Not a million, but figuratively speaking, dozens and dozens, which I'll be showing you in a minute. And if it already ran, let me try to find an example of that. Well, this is a second level trade, so it doesn't really count. I can find one, but it may take a second here. Well, I won't do that right now. Let's see if, no. Sometimes you get lucky. You're doing these webinars and all of a sudden there's your setup, but I don't want to worry about that now. So I'll repeat that. The dynamic trend bands either match color, like right here, for example, they're both matching color. You see that? Or, because we're trying to get in the trade channel as early as possible, in this case, the sell channel, we want to see a match within a 1.5 or less, which is right here on this signal on the pullback. See that? Right there at the yellow dot. If the market already runs, we trade a pullback to the Cobra. Now, I don't mean run like down here, then you trade the Cobra. I mean the trade channel opens up, it's already swooshed down maybe this far here. Let's say none of these yellow dots were here. The trade channel opened, this was closing, and it just jammed to the downside here. Well, that's when you would go and trade up here on a pullback to the Cobra. That's all there is to it. What could be simpler than that? You say, well, what are the rules? What are the rules? Okay, the rules are, and I can say it in one sentence, don't trade against a steep dynamic trend band number 2, and don't trade against a flat dynamic trend band number 2. In one sentence, I can say that. Don't trade against a steep dynamic trend band number 2, and don't trade against a flat dynamic trend band number 2, as shown right here. And the second rule, don't trade fat channel formations, which I'll go into detail and explain those in a minute. So right here, you're not making any trades. This is a steep dynamic trend band here. You're certainly not going to take any short trades against this until you get what? That's right. I can repeat it. Where the trend bands squish together or they're matching. Whenever, by the way, and this is a side subject education-wise, whenever you get a steep run-up like this, the next crossover of that area is going to be a very choppy, difficult area in most cases, as you can see here. And what I'm finding over and over and over, the majority of the time, it'll be a continuation move after it crosses over and gets choppy here on the downside. Most of the time, you're going to find all of a sudden the dynamic trend bands match, like right here, and you want to buy that pullback, the SIG line right here at 39.5, and they shot up to 42.50. You see that? Just barely eking out 3 points, yet still the point is it was a winning trade signal in line with the rules. And then, of course, they wiggled around here again, and in this case, they're again back up on the top side with everything matching, and up they go again. Now, here's one of those cases, by the way, where the market gets all matching dynamic trend bands, but you see as the channel opened, they shot straight up. So here's your first pullback SIG line, but in a case like this, this is where you might look to get a discount on this price here by waiting for a pullback right here to the Cobra or right here to the Cobra, very near to that Cobra line. And it doesn't have to be exact, but just they run down and tap right near, just grab them and watch for the trade to move higher in line with the dynamic trend bands. So the point is in these choppy markets, in this heavily whipsawed market we're getting lately, the key is even more, and that's why I developed this slight modification. It's been around since the beginning of Boomerang, but I just made a slight modification for recent times, and that is watch for those trend bands to be very, very close to crossing over, and it's going to add a lot more assurance to your trade. You can trade it with confidence when you see these dynamic trend bands very close to crossing over. Now I'm going to backtrack and go over all the setups going back to a 2 week period ago. And I'm not going to go over all of them like I did last time, where I methodically counted each one. It was a lot of work, but I got it on the recording there on the website, and it's great because I'll show it to you here. By having that on there, it was a lot of work to do that, but it was great to get that up there because it ended up, to my surprise, showing 100% winning trades. It was mind blowing because I hadn't even done it. I thought of the idea 5 minutes. I was getting all queued up to start the webinar. I thought, let's just go back over every setup and write them down. I had my yellow pad there, and I said, just hash mark, put one column says plus, another minus. Just count them up day by day, and off we went. And I said I did something different in today's session. I'd never not done this before and did not know what to expect because I hadn't gone back over the 2 weeks. And trust me, I had my doubts. I thought, what if it gets a little bit crazy or confusing or anything? But I didn't worry about it. I know Boomerang works so beautiful because I trade with it every day in my live trading room. So at the end of the whole experiment, there was 71 winning trade setups. I said 76 earlier, but I didn't remember exactly, but it was 71. All of them were winners, a total of 213 points. And, if you're trading a small account with 4 or 5 grand in it, that'd have been about a $16,000 return after that kind of trading. And that's a darn good return on your capital in just 2 weeks, I'll say. 400% return, not bad, not bad. But the point is, you can watch the video here and watch me go over and count all those trades. I'm not going to do that every session on these training sessions. The main thing is to get together with you and just show you the things that I discover that are new or things that are important to make sure you win with Boomerang. So, in addition to what I said to you, there is what's called, and I got it written on here, are the second level trades. And they show up a lot because the markets do run. And we don't look to catch runners. We look to grab 3 points in these trades. And sure, sometimes they're going to give you more. In fact, I'd say in the majority of the case, they're going to run more. But if you go in and you nip that 3 points, you got to remember, rather than trying to catch the big runner, my advice is you're a lot better off trading more contracts. If you can successfully catch 3-point winners 90% of the time, you'll make a lot more money than the guy sitting around trying to catch a big runner for 30 points or 25 points, going through all kinds of stuff as the market pulls back against you and goes through all kinds of gyrations. The people, no offense, but the people who usually try to do that are the one contract traders because they're trying to get as maximum they can for one contract. I'm telling you, you have to step up to the plate. Be courageous. First of all, find a winning system like Boomerang that works 90% of the time. Gain a lot of confidence, get real good at catching these trades and following the rules, and then add 2 contracts, add 4 contracts, and eventually up 10, 20 contracts. And that's where the big money comes in. When you start doing that, you start having these $2,000, $3,000 days, and now you are officially, a big time trader. You're doing very well for yourself. So that's the rules, though. Watch for the dynamic trend bands to come together, trade the pullback, the signal line, and here's an example of a second level trade. Here's the market crossing over. We get a sell channel here. The market runs and it whipsaws back up. Here's the spread here, tightening on the DTBs. There's the pullback signal line within that tight spread area. It doesn't have to be exact, but just you want to see them really close to squishing together or indeed matching color. Grab the pullback to the signal line shown here at 34.75 and down they come all the way to 28. Sure, so 20, okay. Here's a classic example, 35 quarter and you're short. Let's say you get short at 34 half because there's some fast movement there. 34 half and they go 31 half, boom, you're out. And you're like, wow, you catch your breath. And look, they went from 31 half all the way down to 28 half. Doesn't matter. Learn the slogan, who cares, so what? Write it up on your desk, paste on your screen. So what? Who cares? I don't care. No big deal. Those 3 things. So what? Who cares? And no big deal. You're not here to catch all the moves. We're just coming in here, what I call a blue-collar working trader, coming in with Boomerang and catching that 3 points. Now, here's an example of a second-level trade. Here's a cross over the dynamic trend bands, both matching color, a counter buy channel, which you're not going to take because the trend bands don't match, nor are they crossing over within a point and a half. And you get ready then and watch for that buy channel to fail. You want to see the buy channel with the arrow and the whole thing, and you want to see it fail and form what? That's right, a new sell channel. Now your permission to take a second level sell, which is right here on the yellow dot. Get your finger right up there. You're watching it, get the cursor right up on there. And as this market's moving, it goes sell channel, hits that sell again. You're not going to see all this. You're only going to see right on the right edge here, like a half robot, go up there and just hit sell market. Don't try to do bid and ask. Just sell at the market and crash. Down they came. Now, right again, here again. Here's where your so what and I don't care slogan is going to help you. You got short. They hit 35 here. This market was whipsawing around 35. It pressed against you a little bit. You got short at, say, 34 half. They ran up to 36.75. Yeah, you're sweating a little. So what? That's part of the market. And then 36 comes crashing down to where? 23. Yow. You're short at 34, 34 half, and they come down to 23. 10 handles lower. What's the repetition? So what? Big deal. Who cares? Glad you got your 3 points, because within this slight little period here, which is marked in California time, 5 minutes after the open, 6:35 to 6:42. That was 7 minutes, and that's the current market the last couple of weeks. Rock and roll. 7 minutes, you made 2 trades for 3 points, and they both ran further in the direction of your entry, but that's 6 points times $20 a contract, $120 times 4 contracts. You just made yourself $480 minus some commission on that. That's not bad for 7 minutes of work, is it? That's a blue collar working trader in the NASDAQ futures. That's our baby, NASDAQ. That's the best deal in the futures index trading, the stock index trading. Yeah, the mini Dow's okay. S&P, forget that. That's full of hedge fund traders and all kinds of guys putting on thousands of contracts to offset other strategies they're doing. You're better off trading the NAS and getting in the action here. You want the cash in your pocket. That's all that matters. I had a guy today email me, says, well, your style doesn't fit mine. I go, what are you talking about? The reason you approach me is because your style's not working. And then you watch how I trade. Like I showed him these fast type of moves. And well, that's not my style. I go, well, your style is not making you money, and my style just made me $500 in 7 minutes. So who gives a crap about your style if it's failing? And if it was working, you wouldn't be approaching me looking at Boomerang. So I get this kind of stuff once in a while. It doesn't make me too mad. I just laugh it off, because what else can I do? People are hypnotized by this trading industry and the massive influx, especially in the last 3 years. Trust me, I've been around 14 years. Can you imagine how I feel in the last 3 years? Ninja Trader, for example, when I was first on there was maybe about 60 different advisories. Now there's like 400. That's because there's no jobs out there. So these guys come in and they figure out a little bit about charting, and now they're a master expert trader, right? And none of them trade, virtually none of them trade. They just design fancy programs and sell them to you. So beware. I'm just putting it live here on the recording. Beware. Please be careful. And nowadays, all you got to do is, if you're approaching them for something else, say, well, do you guarantee that your method you're teaching in your book, or your expensive $8,000 course, do you guarantee that 90% of the trade signals that I get from your course will be winners? Oh my God, no, nobody does that. Well, I know somebody does. Click, see you later. Come on over to Boomerang and get 90% winners. All right, so on this example, on the first day going back 2 weeks, we just made $500 on a small $5,000 account or so, trading 4 contracts in 7 minutes. Now what do we do? Okay, here's the next setup here. The market just screaming whips out about it and comes screaming back. I know. That's what's going on out there. Don't worry about it. That's the way it's happening right now, and there's various reasons for it, some which you'll learn more about as time goes on. But for right now, just the bottom line, that's the way it goes. The market's different every single day. It's always a little bit different news, different reactions. Don't worry about it. Just follow Boomerang. So what are we doing now? Okay, so the market whips up, and you got the dynamic trend bands doing what? Tightening up here, right? Well, the market shoots higher. They're tightening up here, but the market shot straight up and formed a fat channel. See that? If you turn your head to the left, see that big fat belly on that channel there? You don't want to take that trade. Just forget about it. Here comes the red candles shooting back lower. More whipsaw on the downside. What do? Well, you know the rules. I just read them to you in 2 sentences. That's right. Watch for either matching dynamic trend band colors or for the dynamic trend band 1 and 2 to tighten up within 1.5 points of each other. Well, right here you can see all 3 of them are matching. There's a pullback to sig line right there. If not, there's one right here. And if not, they shot down really fast and pulled back the Cobra. Either one of those you can trade, and down they go for the 3rd winning trade. And now it's been 45 minutes since you've started. You got about close to $700 after commission in your pocket. You can stop trading for the day at that point. 45 minutes of work, $700. Not a bad day. It's a blue collar working day. Well, no. I want to keep going. I like this action. I like the whipsaw. Okay, well, be careful though, because this is fast and furious whipsaw, like the general rule of Boomerang. Well, look at these triple fat channel or double fat channels here. Just stand aside. The whipsaw is too heavy. The rule of Boomerang, heavy whipsaw, spike candles, stand aside. I'll show you the rule. Don't trade against a steep dynamic trend band. Don't take trades when the dynamic trend band number 2 is flat. This occurs in choppy whipsaw range-bound type periods in the market. Wait for the next trade channel open, and which causes DTB to slope in that direction. Watch for a tap on the Bollinger Band. That's another great rule I'll show you in a second. Watch out for these fat channels. So the general message is, when they start whipsawing around, you don't have to figure out what to do with that. You don't have to get in there and go, I got to figure this out. I got to trade. Come on, let's go. No, stand aside. I do it all the time. Stand aside. Let it go. Let them go wherever they want. Let them whipsaw around. Learn to laugh at it. Don't get freaked out about it. Just laugh. Go, holy smokes. Look at these crazy gunslingers. Because remember, in the midst of these candles, some crazy traders are in here doing what? That's right. They're thinking they got to figure out which side of the market to be on. They're so stupid, no offense, but they're so damn stupid that they think, I got to be on the right side. I got to figure this out. This market's going all over. It's flying. I got to get in. I got to get in. You're going to see them in the soup lines down there collecting food stamps pretty soon. Forget about it. These are bulls and bears getting their brains stopped out on both sides of the market. He gets short here. He gets stopped out up here. He gets long here. He gets stopped out on here. He gets short here. He gets stopped out here. He doesn't have Boomerang. He doesn't know what the hell to do, and he's caused himself a lot of grief. What do? Well, you stand aside from whipsaw. It's too much. You do that by measuring these candles. Look at this candle, 30 half down to 26 quarter. 4-point candle. Forget it. Just wait. Now look what happens. The candles are whipsawing up. They're all turning green. And now what? All the trend bands are matching here. When it gets crazy whipsaw, the simple rule is wait for the trend bands to match. So here they are matching right here. Here's a pullback to the sig line right here, and the price screams up within probably less than a minute and fills your trade. I get trades in my room when I'm trading. The record is 7 seconds. And it's all tracked by, we have a broker team that sits in the room with us from Global Futures, and they have these sophisticated time and sales. And I got that too on Ninja, you got it, but they tracked it very carefully. And our record is 7 seconds. We've had a lot of trades fill in under 30 seconds during these fast periods. So relish the fast periods. They're great because that way you can get your trades filled really quickly. Now here's an example of a trade where a sell channel opens here. They're whipsawing, they're counter whipsawing. Sell channel screams lower, and then it pulls back here. What would you want to do here? Well, all the trend bands are matching, right? Well, what you do is exactly what I said a couple minutes ago when I was explaining it. they shoot in one direction. Don't trade the pullback signal line, trade the pullback to the Cobra, which is right here at 28.5, and the prices come down to 25.25, just barely eke out 3 points. But whenever you do that, and you get short at a rebound of the Cobra after a fast move lower, get your finger on the trigger and don't take any guff from that trade. Don't wait for 5-point stop on it. Just get in on the Cobra and if let that thing move for you. And if it doesn't, they start pushing back above DTB1 or especially DTB2, just get out of the trade. Anyway, here's another example. All matching trend bands here. Pull back the signal line. And yeah, they whipsawed them a little. 31 came down to 28.75. That's okay. It's trading. You can have confidence if all the trend bands are matching, you're probably going to get a winning trade. So 28 here, or I'm sorry, 31 on that first pullback when everything's matching here, and up they go. Next deal, same thing. This is too far apart. See, now this is where you got to use your discretion, and you got to be patient. You might miss a trade. Don't worry about it. This is too big of a spread. Now, I know they went here to the signal line and they shot lower, and that's fine. If you took that and you said, well, I'm going to take it anyway because these all match, that's okay. But my advice is what? Let them shoot lower. Wait for everything to match or for the spread here to be 1.5 or less. Well, if you waited for them to match, what did you get on this candle here? A little quiz for you. Let me blow that up so you can see it. If you waited for everything to match, they shot lower off the sell channel, but not extremely amount, not like they went from here to down here, but just a small jolt in that direction. What'd you get? You got to pull back to the Cobra right there. Take that trade to the Cobra and control that trade, keep it under these dynamic trend bands, and boom, down they went. So far today on this session here, first session going back 2 weeks, all winning trades. Same thing here. If trend bands all match, take the trade to the pull back the signal line, and up they go. Over here now, the channel opens up, nothing's matching yet, and you got a flat DTB. When you got a flat DTB, watch them to go down and tap that Bollinger Band to light up the downside on this move. They're still rolling back lower. Everything's matching here, but they're gone. Forget it. Now, this is a case where too much of a move. Don't trade the Cobra here, although that ended up working. It was a scary trade, but it did end up working. They went back to the Cobra, held dynamic trend band number 2, and came lower. But the sell channel's way up here. So that's too big of a move. Like a move here would be okay if they came down here and the DTB's crossed and all the dots were up here, then a Cobra pullback's okay. But that isn't what happened. You missed that trade. It's getting too late in the day. Usually you don't want to trade past quarter after 3 o'clock usually. I just forget it. You don't have enough time in that trade if it doesn't go your way. But, what was that? 6, 7 winners for the day. Moving on to the next day here. And again, I'm not going to go over all the trades in detail. I just want you to understand how simple it is to trade with Boomerang. So same thing here, big up move in pre-market, huge up move in pre-market. Now they've got the opening here. Let that market figure out what it wants to do. Here's the tight spread, and that's why I wait for that. You get that tight spread on the DTBs, and you're just giving your trade more chance of success. It gives it a maximum chance. So here's a tight spread, and they're moving lower, and you trade right here to back to the Cobra because they've already ran lower off the sell channel. Trade the pullback to the Cobra or just above the signal line. Somewhere in here, just get them short, and there's your winning trade there. And of course, then they ran further because the dynamic trend bands are crossing. Now, but nevertheless, you still got a second opportunity because here's what happened. You now have a steep dynamic trend band, and what's the rule? That's right, a counter buy channel that fails takes the next sell channel. Here's a buy channel, and it's going to fail because of the steep dynamic trend band. Here's the new sell channel here, and here's a pullback to the signal line right up in this area here. Crash, down they come. Just let this thing bottom out. Don't try to bottom fish. It can be very dangerous. Trust me, I know. Sometimes I catch them and I'll get a 14-point winner reversal. but a lot of times it'll take a few stop outs, and that's not pleasant. So I don't do that much anymore. But here's the market bottoming out. Look at that, how beautiful reading the market is with Boomerang. Here's the nice DTB number 2 scooping under the prices. Dynamic trend number 1. Look at the Cobra scooping the prices. And as a new trade channel opens right here, the crossover occurs on the dynamic trend bands. That's all you got to do is keep your eye on that. Here's a new buy channel. Just forget all this noise. Here's the crossover. Here's a classic pullback to the signal line with all the trend bands matching, and up they go for a 3-point winner. Here again, classic sell channel that fails with everything bullish on this side. Sell channel that fails. Now, if it succeeded and all the prices drop down to their DTB number 2 and all these trend bands pull back down here, well, then that's a different animal. But right here, you can see that's why we wait for a counter sell channel and the failure of that to set up the next trade on the same side if it's going to be that way. Here it is. It's a failure. They shoot back up, new buy channel. Here comes a pullback signal line, but what's wrong with this deal? Well, they already shot up. This is okay because it's a second level trade and you got a steep dynamic trend band. Try to get some kind of discount off that signal line. 25.75, they came down to 25 even. Not much, and it's a little bit of a risk, but you got to try to see if you can get a little discount. If you didn't and you bought them here, you're fine. If you got a discount, great, but they didn't make their way back to the Cobra, so you're going to have to either miss the trade, or if you caught them in there, up they go. Now again, here's one of these are confusing when you get a strong, especially the run-ups on the upside. They run up, and then everything crosses over and starts whipsawing. Just expect it. It's a common thing in a bullish market with Boomerang. Just expect it. Don't get upset by it, and don't start thinking, I got to get short, I got to get short. No, you don't. Especially when they're whipped. Look at this crazy candle here. 39 high on the candle, 34 low, 5-point full-on whipsaw candle straight up. That's why the 450 ticks are very valuable. It allows me to measure that. If I had 7 little Renko bars in there, what does that tell me? It's just, I don't like those things. I know some people like them. That's fine. I respect that, but I like seeing, why is this candle a normal little 2.5 candle and this one a 5? It's telling me the strength of the whipsaw going on out there on the bullish side and vice versa. Well, what do you do when this happens? Nothing. You don't have to figure this out. Boomerang will figure it out for you. When all the trend bands match, like right here, you buy this pullback the signal line at 39.5, and they shoot up to 42.5. So barely eked out 3 points. You had to be fast, and probably not even the best trade to take because of the flat DTB. But if you did anyway, you could have made a couple points. Same thing down here. Well, flat DTB, new sell channel, pullback the signal line, 38.75 only goes down to 37, but it's a flat DTB. It's a higher risk trade, and you can take it, but you might have got stopped out in this deal. Now, keep in mind, if you did go short here, there was a new buy channel and a pullback the signal line right there at 39, so you could have cut the trade short. Even so, if you got 38.5 and they got out at 42 or whatever, yeah, it's not the end of the world. Now you got a new Boomerang channel shooting up here, but they are shooting up quick, so you don't want to trade this one. Try to get a discount down towards a Cobra. May not be exactly the Cobra area, but if they drop back after shooting up and then they drop back towards that Cobra, just go ahead and nail them, because the odds are very high of them holding the dynamic trend band area there. So up they go again. Do you see how this works? All I'm doing is using the simple rules that I explained to you in 3 sentences earlier and applying it to the charts. Now, when that market's whipsawing all over the place and everything, it's very, very easy to get emotionally caught up in the thing and go nuts. I totally agree with that. But don't let it happen. That's part of being a career trader. You can't go in and let the market shake you out, try to blame Boomerang, and go on looking at more webinars and all. That's not going to change the markets being fast and furious. That's not going to change that. Going to another webinar, buying another course is not going to change the speed of the markets or the way the markets act. You just got to get into it. And with Boomerang, you have your guarantee and you have the best system that you can use to make some serious money. You got to decide to be a career trader. You got to decide that I'm going to be a career trader from this day forward. In 20 years, that's 4,800 approximately trading days left in my life. Holy smokes. What's the big deal if I have a rough day or something? It's just one day. Now I got 4,999 left, or 4,799 left. Hey, piece of cake. I'm going to keep going. Here's a always weird experience, but nice. I see these happen all the time and I go, oh boy, but I know exactly what to do, so I don't worry about it. The market's just on a tear. It's going higher and the Fed riggers are probably behind it and there's nothing going to stop it. And all you got to do is what? That's right. Follow the rules of Boomerang. It's the only thing you have to do. You don't have to say, oh, they're going higher. Oh, you're not missing anything. You're just waiting for the rules of Boomerang to set. This thing got away. There was no counter sell channel. Notice that, by the way, it's very important. When this thing took off in pre-market, way in pre-market, by the time the market opened right here, it was already flying. There was no counter sell channels and then a new buy channel get long. That's an important thing I want to point out. Notice that there were no counter sell channels and then therefore a new buy channel to get a second level move out of this. It just went straight up. So you just say, oh, well, one of those deals. So what are we doing? We're waiting for the markets to squish 1.50 or less together. 58.75, 59.50. Notice that right there? Well, there's a pullback right there, the sig line. There's another one right here. And take that second one, 54.75, comes down to 51.5. 3 points gain. If you somehow got a little worse price, they didn't fill it and they shot back up. Say you got filled at instead of 54.75, you got filled at 54.25. So they shot back up a couple points against you, came back down again. They held that stop. Don't worry. Boom. And especially when you're in that position, it's whipsawing a little against you. You look up and see the matching DTBs and the crossover. Don't worry about it. They're going to come back down. Odds are very, very high. So you can stay in the trade in confidence, not get too nervous. Well, maybe a little. I know I do. Sometimes I'll get in there and we'll have 3 winners in a row. Boom, 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 lightning speed. And I just go, okay, everybody, take a breath. I'll go on mute and I'll just stand up and walk away from my screen and just walk down the hall on my pad here and walk back and look over the balcony, and just anything, just kind of get away from that screen and realize what I just did and let it go. Let it flow out of my body. It's too intense. But that's part of the fun of trading. Here's a steep dynamic trend band. Here's a counter buy channel that is not giving us any signal to go long. There's no squish together here. And sure enough, a counter sell channel. There was a yellow dot right on there. You should have been right on top of that yellow dot, ready for it to go. If not, you caught this one here, and down they go for another winning trade. See how that works? Even in the midst of heavy whipsaw, it is what it is. It's a counter buy channel that failed against a steep dynamic trend band, and we're going to take the next sell channel. That's all we're doing. Same old routine. Same old routine again here, which is what? DTB squishing together within 1.5 points. Crossover here. You can take this first pullback to the sig line right here, and up they go. 48 runs 54. There was 3 points in there. See that? It was already squished together. So all you're waiting for is the blue dynamic trend band number 1. That's a requirement. You have to have a blue DTB number 1, but they're squished together, so you can go ahead and trade that pullback right there as soon as that happens, and up they go. Got 3 points, and you get 3 points, and there's all this going on up here. I know. Then you look up at your desk, and you have what written on your desk? So what? Who cares? No big deal. Those 3 things. Write that down. So what? Who cares? And no big deal. Because you grab 3 points like a lightning bolt down here, and they just were shot to the moon. And that's going to happen, especially when the DTBs cross. Very high odds when they cross, there's going to be a big runner move. If you can get into that, you get real familiar with Boomerang, you can catch those runners because you'll see it happening and you'll say, I'm going to hold this trade. You'll see some things over on the high five, what I call a high five, the tape and all that, and you'll see, I'm going to hold this trade. Here's a second level trade that fails. Same old routine. Shoot them to the sky, second level trade that fails, and what happens here? New buy channel, all the dynamic trend bends are matching. There's a pullback right there on the signal line, 60, 65, and 65 shoots higher. Same thing here. When they cross over after a big move, they get all full of whips on everything. Now, one can say here, okay, they crossed over, trend bands are matching, and there's a crossover. That's right. So if you want to go ahead and sell right here at 74.5, they came down to 71.5, just barely eked out 3 points. And here they came down to same thing, 71.5. But when you see them get a little sticky down on a certain number there, they can't seem to bust it. Usually they're going to reverse and go the other way. Anyway, you either took that or you didn't. You got some points, you didn't. If you didn't, and then you saw a new buy channel open up, and what? All three of the trend bands matching here. Here's a pullback to the signal line, and they shoot higher. See that? 90% winning trades. We've only had one loss since I've been starting the webinar here. Again, dynamic trend band number 1 turns the magenta bearish color. The spread is within 1.5 points. The pullback to the signal line is right here, and down they go for another winner. Boomerang Day Trader is absolutely, by far, blown away by far the easiest system of any system out there to trade. You're not going to even come close to finding one as simple as this, or what to speak of as profitable. So you want two things: simplicity to use. Even the top pro traders, they don't want some big complex thing. They want profit. The ones who are smart want profit. And Boomerang is the easiest to trade and the most profitable. So that's what you want to get. Here's the dynamic trend bands. Once again, new buy channel opening up. Everything's matching here. They don't come together till up here, but they're matching colors right here. You with me? All the colors are matching here on the bullish side right here. So you trade that pullback signal line there, shoot up another winner. There's no trick that I'm pulling in these charts. They're all just still charts, and I could go back to a chart 2 years ago on Boomerang, which I could if I could just change the data feed here, and you're going to see the exact same thing. It's fixed on the charts. These prices were hit, and this is what the prices did. It's no mystery. Here's a little trickier trade. They're crossing over. Dynamic trend band's coming off of flat, and it's starting to move lower. They come down and tap the Bollinger Band, right? Everything's matching here, so you trade. It's a little bit of a fat channel, but say you trade the pullback sig line here, right? Well, 44.81, 81 traveled up to 82.75. That's as high as they went. So, yeah, they moved against you a little bit, but you can take it, right? You see the crossover occurring here. You say, that's okay. I don't mind. I'm confident. You hold short, and down they go. Now you're coming into this is into the close anyway, so you probably wouldn't have been working on this trade. You might have taken it, but again, generally anything past quarter after the top of the hour there at 3 o'clock, you're better off you don't have enough time in there if something goes wrong with a trade. So I avoid it. You can take them if you want, but I don't recommend it. Moving forward here, I'm not going to go over every trade. So far I kind of have. Trying to get in some heavy whipsaw because that's what we've been seeing. Now here's a good example. Here comes the market opening. I think I remember this day. A lot of them have been like this. You come into work in the morning, by the way. You get up every day. You come to work. You have Boomerang. You have the rules in front of you. You already have the rules memorized, and you know what to do. You come to work in 100% confidence, and you're going to sit there until the exact trade setup matches. See what I'm saying? You're going to just trade the Boomerang setups, and you got plenty of time. Like I run a trading room every day, and I got all these lots and lots of people, and they're watching me, and we have target goals of hitting 10 to 20 NASDAQ points, ideally within the first couple hours. So I've been trading 25 years, so I use other types of trades, several other types of trades that are modifications, and then I use Boomerang trades. We had, I think, 2 or 3 of them today. But if I sit there all day and we get 3 boomerang trades that are correct setups, well, that's a lot. That's a lot of sitting in over a 4-hour period, and it's not what I want to do. I want to accomplish my goals really quick, and then go ahead and hit our target goals. And we closed. I had the room. We had 14 points today by 11 o'clock. We were done in an hour and a half. I closed up the room, and the market got slaughtered. I don't care. So what? Who cares? No big deal. We hit our target goal. We're blue collar workers. My 4 contract trader guys in there had an $800 paycheck. Do you think we care? You got to get that into your head that how do I say it? The dream of the big money, which is sold by the Wall Street firms on the television and CNBC, ooh, making the big bucks. And they got all these jackasses like Warren Buffett and all these people on with billions of dollars that you and I are never going to have. And they keep shoving them in our face, telling us, ooh, this is the dream to be this big billionaire guy. It's not going to happen. It's better to come in and be a blue collar working trader and go buy your wife some beautiful new shoes with the $800 you made today. You see what I'm saying? It's better to take your kids out there, their soccer team or baseball team, take them all out. There's 10 guys in the team, take them all out for pizza. They won the game today. Hey, Johnny's dad's buying tonight. Okay, we're all going to the pizza party. All the other dads like, hey, whoa, boy, what's he doing? And he spends $200 and it's couple of beers with the dads that come along and pizza for everybody and sodas for the kids. So what? See, that's living the life. Just forget about this got to catch the big winner stuff. I just totally against that idea because most of the people in trading are losing so much money because they're what? Trying to catch the big winner. Go in and be a blue collar worker and be happy. And you got 4,800 days left to do it. And you can make them all happy days like that. Think how much money you'll have made. So anyway, here's the opening. They come smashing down. You got nothing matching. The crossover doesn't occur to here, but look at this. Here's the crossover, right? Prices swoosh down lower. I usually, by the way, don't recommend trading in the first 15 minutes, but if you did, I'm just showing the example in the chart. Here's where the spread is tightened up. And they've already gone smashing down here. Do what? Trade the pullback to the Cobra right there. Boom, down they came. Fast as you can blink your eye. 934, 935 approximately, 15 seconds before 935, and you got 3 points at 936. A minute and 15 seconds later, you got $240 in your pocket. What's wrong with that? On a small account? Are you kidding? Here's a counter channel that fails because this dynamic trend band's gotten steep. Everything's matching. It fails. You get that sell channel. You should be ready to hit the first yellow dot. If you didn't miss this and they shoot lower, well, probably better to forget this one because it's a really oddly stacked kind of channel here. If you didn't catch this yellow dot, this one here, 13 quarter ran down to 10 to 11. It gets a little crazy down here because you missed the move on this. It happened too fast. And this candle here was 14.75 shooting all the way down to 12. It was a fast spike lower. Just wait for the next deal. No big deal. Okay, there again. Spike up over the dynamic trend band. Gee, isn't it a coincidence how the prices react to my dynamic trend band so nicely? I mean, it's like they're exactly telling you where the market's going. They're calling the market for you. Here's that spread here. New buy channel opens and shoots up. Here's that tight spread. What do? There's a pullback sig line up here, but they shot up. This would have been okay to take, but buy the Cobra right there. Cobra, long, up, shoots straight up. Same thing. So you got long at the Cobra there. 14.5 at 9:49. 3 to 4 minutes later, you got 3 points in your bet. Well, let's see, what was that? 14.5, 17, this one here. 3-4 minutes, 3 more points. Here comes the craziness and the whipsaw, but you got the dynamic trend band spreading, so let them play out a little on the upside before you get too excited about thinking about a short. Now, arguably here, you got a counter sell channel that failed, a new buy channel. It's all whipsaw, but a pullback the sig line here, believe it or not. at 18.5 would have still made a move up to 22 and you would have got 3 points. But that's a treacherous trade. I'm not saying you're going to take every one of the trade signals, but they're there. The system produced it, and it was a 3-point winner. See what I'm saying? Spread too wide up here. You got to let them match or get them tightened up so you can protect yourself. Take really safe trades, ideally, that work in your favor. I'm almost done here, and then we'll have a Q&A session. Shooting down, this is a whipsaw here, nothing to do here. Here they are, go up here. Look at this. Just wait, because there's one around the corner. This one, you miss this one most likely. But look at this. Prices shoot up, all the trend bands matching. Buy the pullback signal line, classic boomerang trade. Up they go within minutes. You got another 3-point winner. Counter sell channel that fails. New buy channel, pullback signal line, classic second level trade. Up they go. It was a little bit choppy, but up they go. This is a third level trade which panned out beautifully, but we don't take third levels. You can, but it's just over the years of working with Boomerang, I've seen too many third level ones be very a little bit scary. They don't always work. They start to pan out, then they get all choppy, and then maybe they whipsaw back lower. You know, why deal with the grief? Excuse me. Why deal with the grief? Just get into stuff that works. Here they are squished together. What about this one? Well, this is a fat channel. You can see it clearly because of the movement from up here, shooting down in 3 or 4 candles, spiking lower. It created a fat channel. You don't want to trade this. You don't want to trade the Cobra here either in most cases. You could maybe try it, but you would have got stopped out. Heavy whipsaw, but what we do end up seeing, because just wait, because there will be something clear coming in. Level 1, level 2, or a counter buy channel that fails. When you get that second sell channel and you got all the DTBs matching, get ready to trade to the signal line, and down they go for a winning trade. This one got away too fast, too furious. This one, arguably this one, you know, everything's matching here. You might have caught this, but man, that's a risky trade there. But sure enough, 29.25 came down to 20. This didn't quite make 3 point. And again, this is too much risk. All this is whipsawing around in here. You're better off leaving it alone. It's getting late in the day. Let somebody else go in there and get stopped out and whipped around. So with that in mind, I mean, I'm just repeating the same process over and over and over, and that's all you're looking to do. Tight channel, pull back the Cobra, down they go. No second level trade here. Notice that sometimes they're going to go straight down or up. You're not going to get a second level trade. Let them cross over. Let that spread get tight here. Get them nice and tight by that pullback signal line. You're going to squeeze out 3 points. If you're nervous about the trade, take 2 points. There's no crime in that. It's 2 points. It's a good deal. Same thing here. Everything's matching. Pullback signal line, down they go. I could go on and on. Avoid whipsaw. Avoid fat channels. Stay away from flat DTBs here. Number 2. See that? It's flattening out. Don't try to trade the ping-ponging back and forth. It'll be difficult. Wait until you see them. Tap the Bollinger Band down here. Everything's matching. Pull back, and then get them going down on the downside. That's the way to hit them. So with that in mind, again, I'm not going to go over, like on the last training course we did, I'm not going to go over each and every signal, but I just wanted to show you how to deal with the whipsaw. If there's a flat dynamic trend band and they're whipsawing around that, stand aside. If you get in the trade, make sure all the trend bands are matching, and if there's been a run to one level, just try to shoot for getting a better price at the Cobra to take that trade. And plan on some scary stuff, though. Keep your 5-stop point in there intact and just have a lot of faith that it's not going to get hit in most cases. Sometimes it might, but the boomerang odds are so high that it usually doesn't. I've designed the system to be very effective, and they just, most of the time, these trades are going to pan out 90% of the time. Here's a second level trade here, crystal clear. Look at that. All the dynamic trend bands matching, pullback signal line. How easy is that to just look and say, oh, all the trend bands are matching. Oh, there's a pullback signal line. Short them. See what I mean? Counter sell channel here. But this is, I think, a third. Yeah, that's a, well, this was actually a reset of a new leg down. And the reason is because the trend bands did cross. and match. There was no trade here, but that actually authorizes this second level trade here. See that? There's a one candle counterpoint move with the arrow coming on the new buy channel and a blue dot which quickly switched to a sell channel, a pullback to the yellow line dot, and down they came. Amazing. Here they are, all the colors. Here's the crossover. Now notice here the dynamic trend band number 1 is already crossed over. So the minute it turns blue, you're in business right there. Pullback signal line, up they go. It's the simplest thing in the world to do. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording here so we have plenty of room. So YouTube will be kind enough to upload the video for us so you'll have it on the site if you want to rewatch what I've showed you today. And I highly encourage you to purchase Boomerang and start a winning career and get on board your next 4,800 trading days. Have some fun, make some money. So thanks again for joining us on the recording, and we'll see you soon in the action.